What is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to our incredible live stream event. Hopefully you guys are doing well today. We have quite a few things to go through today, to say the least. I'm very excited for what's on the agenda as well. And I got confirmation here that we are live and proper, which is amazing. So, ladies and gents, good to see everyone today. Today is one of the most incredible live stream events that we've had in a while, because we have my good friend and massively successful businessman, Alan Coughlan, founder of Landstill Global, a company that does $40 million a year plus, in sourcing and fulfillment, which is absolutely incredible. He's one of the best in the game when it comes to these types of movements and logistic trends. And I wanted to go ahead and bring him here to go ahead and kind of showcase to you guys what's possible in this field, and also how to really know what is real and what is myth on the back end of e-commerce and product fulfillment. So everyone here can get a phenomenal idea as to exactly what to do moving forward in Q4, what to do moving forward as we get past Q4 to Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 again, and ultimately how to just run a proper and consistent business with a great supply chain on the back end. And Alan, thank you so much for making the time today to go ahead and talk to our people. The people here at BSF love you, my friend. It's just like your third or fourth time talking to the people, which is amazing. And every single time you come with such heat and such amazing ideologies and wisdom as well. And we thank you so much, Alan, for making the time today.
Great. Thank you, Justin. Yeah, thanks for having me on again. Love the last few times we did it together. You guys at BSF do amazing content. You know, there's a lot of fake kind of gurus out there, right? That we know some of these guys, but you guys are crushing it. So I'm delighted to pop on. Perfect timing coming into Q4. So it's exciting times ahead. Really exciting times.
For sure. And for sure, Alan, what's really, really incredible is not only the season ahead of Q4, but the growth that I would say maybe massive changes and optimization of the logistics process that we've been seeing over the past several years, which I'm really excited to kind of dive deep into today and have you share some awesome wisdom with the people as well. I actually have a bunch of questions prepared that I think will be really, really, really great to kind of go through and give the people some incredible kind of ideologies as well as answers to these points that so many people here in the e-commerce space wonder. So, before we actually get fully started, Alan, would you mind just giving everyone a bit of a background about who you are, what you do, how we met, and everything else in between that you think the people should know before we jump into this, and also a bit of a background about your company and the success of it as well?
Great. Okay, guys. Yeah, well, I'm 35 years old now. I moved to China 11 years ago, just as I finished college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I moved to China, did a year of study there. After my year of study, I still was unsure what I wanted to do, so I started learning Chinese part-time, teaching English part-time to pay for my Chinese lessons. And on the side, I started buying and selling products in China. From that, I actually loved the hustle. I loved going to factories, learning about quality control, lead times, MOQs, the good suppliers, the bad suppliers. And from there, my name just grew as the kind of the non-Chinese guy in China who can fix your problems, right? So we grew from word of mouth. Now I think I have over 100 staff. We have warehouses in Nevada, Henderson, Nevada, where I'm actually here right now. We have 40,000 square foot in Shenzhen, South China. We supply brands from all sizes that do $50,000 a month in revenue up to $5 million a month in revenue. Just kind of crushed it that way, Justin. We met many years ago at some event in LA, which we had a really good time. Our views are the same on e-commerce, and we got along really well right there. And guys, that's it. I'm in this for the long haul. We have big hopes for e-com over the next few years. It isn't going anywhere. We've definitely still seen like a lull in sales this year, probably about 20% to 30% down from the year previous. Our freight forward partners have come down about 20-30% in volume. Some factories have gone out of business due to this, but in the last 2-3 months, it's definitely been picking up. So I'm really excited about this last quarter of this year.
That's amazing. And thank you so much for that incredible intro as well, Alan. You're definitely a world-class individual in this space, which is amazing. You've worked with some really, really reputable and big companies with Landstill Global as well. Didn't you guys work with Coca-Cola or something like that at some certain point?
Yeah, we did. And that's like a kind of a love-hate story. That was one of my biggest customers. So, when you finish business school, Justin, like you're taught in business school that you got to chase these big companies. And if you get clients as Coca-Cola, it's going to change your life. Well, I did. And they they screwed me over. I had to chase Coca-Cola for 12, 13 months in order to pay me something like $15,000. The only way they would pay me the money is if I flew to Vietnam and collected a black bag full of Vietnamese local currency. And in order to get that out of the country, I had to go to a jewelry store and convert it into US dollars and then fly out of the country. So that was like, when I started the business, that was my goal customer, because we were doing branded merch, right? So that's how I learned how to brand goods. Was we were doing pens, t-shirts, umbrellas, etc. And when I got Coca-Cola, I thought, oh my God, I've made it. Made the deal, supplied the goods. Then they went silent for 2-3 months. Then all this kind of crap evolved around it. But then I realized, what you're taught in school is completely different than what you should actually do. You should follow what you're good at. I was good at making relationships on phone or Zoom calls, and hustling, and just like helping businesses that are struggling and getting to a point where their supply chain's good. That's what we like do really well at. So Coca-Cola, they have a supply chain. They have millions and millions of dollars on advertising spend. If we could save them money, which we did, like if we could save them, $10,000 on an invoice, $20,000 on an invoice, they were not interested, as they need to spend their budget every quarter in order to get the budget again the next quarter. So, it was just a completely different mindset I had after finishing business school and then actually starting my own business. So from then, I turned down their next order.
Really? So you actually turned down their next order after going through that?
Yes, they wanted to continue doing goods, but I said I couldn't risk it. Number one, I didn't have capital to be able to float Coca-Cola for another 12 months, right, and jump on another plane in order to get paid. So what we did is, I kind of focused on, at the time, Amazon sellers. So I got some leads from some Amazon sellers where I would go to their factory, look at their supply chain, cut down their cost per unit, improve their quality, and just take a small fee off the top. So I was loving that. I was going all around China on motorbikes, buses, you name it, I've done it, into the back ass of nowhere in China to this.
I can picture it, Alan. I see it right now.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And when I grew from that, I was able to rent my first warehouse in South China, where we would, rather than me traveling to every factory to do a quality control, which is time consuming and costly, I would have the factory ship the goods to my warehouse, where I hired a few staff and we quality check them there together. And from there, we acquired our first drop shipping customer, where we absolutely just crushed it for them, because they were getting ripped off by Chinese agents. They didn't know who they were. They were scaling pretty hard. And when they came to me, I understood what they wanted. There was trust there already. And we just took over, crushed it. And that was in like maybe 2016. And since then, we've been full on fulfillment, supplying, Shopify sellers, Amazon sellers, all D2C brands.
For sure. And honestly, Alan, that's an incredible story, to say the least, with Coca-Cola. So thank you for sharing that with us. And that's a really cool story that I think a lot of our people watching right now are going to be very appreciative of hearing, because that's a very, very unique story. I think it's very cool as well, and shows you some of the ins and outs in business when you first start as well. You gotta be, cutthroat, but also, do what you got to do. And you turning down Coca-Cola is crazy. Just be able to say you turned down Coca-Cola thereafter is a pretty cool thing to say. Yeah. Now, with that also being said, Alan, where do you see the season going? So as someone who's getting into Q4, an e-commerce entrepreneur, let's say someone's doing maybe $10,000 to $50,000 a month. Okay. What do you say to those people who are getting into their first Q4? Maybe it's their first Q4 as an established brand. What are some of the big major moves and plays that you say make early, make now, and think about currently to really make yourself massively successful and progressive throughout the rest of the Q4 season?
Got it. Well, the biggest thing for me coming into Q4 is stock. From all I've learned in the last few years, coming into Q4 and you're ready to scale, is stock. This doesn't mean that, if you're in the drop shipping mode and that's how you run, and you don't like to hold too much inventory, that's fine. But communicate with your factory that you are scaling. You do need them to take a bit of risk with you, because you build a relationship with a factory, right? That's what a lot of, let's say, USA or global sellers don't understand, and Chinese factories don't understand. You come into a partnership when you choose your agent in China, right? So they have to take some sort of risk to float you some stock coming into Q4. That's the biggest issue we see. People start to scale usually around mid-October. We always see November as Q4. October is like rolling up to it. Sales don't really spike around October in our business, but November is where it really hits hard. So yeah, get the factory to prepare some stock. You may not have to pay for it in advance, but prepare stock for you. Keep you updated on how many units they have in stock. So at least you are aware. So at least you don't scale when you can't fulfill the orders, and then all of a sudden you get PayPal blocked, bad Facebook score, you name it, you'll get shut down. You'll have a terrible Q4. So it's all about preparing for stock. It's my number one.
For sure. So like expectations, right? So like someone's doing, let's say like, 1,000 units, for example, purposes a month. What amount would you say is proper for these people to go ahead and order when working with a company like yours? Like what is a good amount to go ahead and foresee in terms of buying stock, holding, space in a warehouse, et cetera?
Yeah, we break it down to per day. So we like to hold, let's say the lead time. So when you order products from a factory, it might take 10 days to manufacture the goods. Then in order for us to receive the goods, we have to place an order today, and in 10 days time, we'll have it. So for that customer, we like to hold 10 days of stock, right? Coming into Q4, lead times always increase. So you've got to communicate with your factory. How long is production for this SKU? And if you have 10 SKUs for each SKU, what's the production lead time right now? Once you figure that out, you got to look at your daily sales and then multiply that by the lead time to find out how much stock I need to hold, or does my factory need to prep for me so I can hit my numbers. And if you back yourself, I know, Justin, with your advice, and you have a mentorship program. So I know like you help those guys scale and crush coming into Q4. But if I backed my advertising and I thought I could 2x my sales coming into Q4, then you've got to 2x your kind of inventory levels.
No, for sure. And that's great feedback, because someone who's in Q4, has great ROAS and wants to scale further, and being held back by not having stock or units, that's a very, defeating feeling for sure.
Oh, it's the worst. Like we've had customers in the past that crush it during the year, like constantly profitable, doing really well. Coming up to Q4, they don't put the order in like September or mid-September, and then they're scaling, and then there's a problem. Like in the factory, can't get raw material. You forget about all that kind of stuff. It's never easy in production, right? If you have one SKU, in fact, there might be 10 different types of material for that SKU, packaging, all that kind of stuff. If one of those suppliers gets, electricity shut down, or a hurricane comes in, or COVID shuts them down, which is the climate we're in now, you're done. Your Q4 is over. You won't be able to scale. You won't be able to get stock. So yeah, we've had those issues before.
Got it. No, got it. And being able to hear this from someone like yourself, for everyone watching right now, is super, super helpful, right? So knowing to be proactive, preemptive, and make assumptions, right, and to notice trends of your order volume are keys that you need to have in your mind to go ahead and make a successful, triumph forward, which is really important. And one thing as well, Alan.
Yeah, if I just add on the flip side of that, Justin, on the flip side is if you get your calculations incorrect and how much you can actually scale coming into Q4, you've bought a lot of stock, which is your profits. So there's the fine, and we've seen the flip side of this too, when customers are hitting us up in December and like, hey, can you contact the factory and sell back 10, 20,000 units of this product that's unbranded because they have the drop shipping model? And we'd be like, hey, we'll try. They may take it back at 30% of what you paid for it or not. So you really got to get your math right, get your forecasting correct. And then you should have a good time.
No, for sure. I mean, working with guys like yourself, it makes things so much easier, right? Being transparent and being on the same page as your clientele is huge, So you guys are one of the few individuals we'll recommend, because we're very, very picky with who we want, to service our clients. And you guys are some of the best, or the best we've ever seen, which has been absolutely amazing. And quite frankly, that's the type of person you want in your corner. Guys like yourself, right, and brands like yourself actually being the heartbeat of your company is what you want. So just like you said previously, making that partnership, making a connection with someone that you can trust and someone that does good work is half the battle, right? So I'll also have someone on the team drop landstillglobal.com down below, where you guys can find Alan's company as well. For anyone who wants to go ahead and message him, hit him up, definitely do so. I would highly recommend that our students do. Now, fantastic. Alan, with that being said, also I have a bunch of questions here. I don't want to rack you too much, but you give such good feedback on each piece that these are very valuable when I ask them. So I have a list here of questions that our students have requested that we ask. And this specific one says this: in efforts to negotiate with a supplier, am I going to sacrifice quality of said product, or should I be willing to sacrifice quality of the product if it means getting it cheaper?
That's a fantastic question. That's like, I went through this back in the day by pushing our suppliers too hard in order to get our customers a better price. And there's a fine line. As I mentioned before, you create a partnership with your agent or your supplier, right? So you need them to be happy to do your order so that they service you for the next order. And the main thing is service you if there is an issue. So let's say you push them too hard on a production run, and then you find out that the quality isn't up to standard, or you're getting complaints, and usually your agent would kind of refund you on the shipping costs or whatever deal you have with them before you get started. But if you push them too much and they don't make money on the orders that they're fulfilling, and then you come back saying, hey, there's a quality issue, we want all this refunded, they have every right to say, I'm sorry, but we made nothing on this order, so we can't really sort you out here. You pushed us too hard. We're not interested in your future business, because what's going to happen next month is you're going to push us hard again. You're constantly checking other suppliers and saying, hey, this guy that you've never even met on Alibaba said he'll give it to you for $1 when the price is $2. It gets really frustrating to the factory, to the supplier. So in my opinion, when we take on a new SKU, a new customer, we research, let's say, 6 to 7 factories, because we don't know the market value of any one said new SKU, right? Unless we already know that category. So if it's a new product, my team will check 5 to 6 different factories, and we'll gather all the details, and then we'll break it down to 2 or 3 factories where we will present to our customer. And you'll have different lead times, different cost per unit, and they're the main things. But the main thing is the location. So we usually recommend the factory based on the location. If it's closer to our central hub in Shenzhen, we will hope that our customer chooses this factory, not just based on the price. It might be the middle price. It mightn't be the cheapest. It might be the more expensive. If we go for the cheapest, we can almost guarantee that, if there is an issue, which there always is an issue, they won't support us. If we go for the more expensive supplier, we know that they are purchasing that product and just adding margin probably from the cheaper supplier. So there's a fine line on how you pick your supplier, because it definitely can affect your future relationship with that supplier.
For sure. I mean, that's a great breakdown that you pretty much hit every point nail head on. And what's important, and I think the reoccurring theme that we're noticing here, right, is do your due diligence, right? Work with someone who's reputable, someone who has that experience talking about exactly what you're speaking on right now. And I think that's huge. And for anyone, doing a due diligence is huge.
Yes, and always push for, okay, I'm happy with, let's say, $1 per unit at 1,000 units, but ask the factory, if I order 3,000 next month, am I going to see some price breaks? If they say no, then you're dealing with the wrong agent, because there's always a price break up until a certain point, a certain minimum order. So, like, there's always room for getting a cheaper price once you scale up. That's what I push for.
That's a great point there. I'm happy you brought that up. Yeah. And to even capitalize on that, I know you mentioned some things where people try to work in margin here or there, different agents, suppliers, etc. Another question we have here, Alan: are agents and suppliers drop shipping products from manufacturers as well? How does that work, that whole back end process?
So do you mean, do they sell themselves online, or how do they get the products?
So how do they get the product?
Got it. So yes, the majority of agents drop ships from factories. So they are not factories. They will usually tell you they are. They will, give you all the spiel, send pictures, etc. But they are drop shipping from factories, and that's the issue here. So if you're a drop shipper, usually you don't mind fulfilling your orders for a few days until your agent gets the products, right? That's usually how it goes, unless you hold stock as a drop shipper. But if your agent is also drop shipping, at some point during your scale time, the factory is going to run out of stock, and your agent's supplier is going to take longer than it usually has, especially coming into busy holiday seasons, Q4, product depending. And that's where you're going to get screwed. And that's where a lot of people I know who drop ship, a lot of friends that used to drop ship and now crossed over into full 100% branding. That's where they used to get screwed in the past. That, you know, for 8 months of the year, they could get the product after 4 days. No problem. Everything's fine. Then you come into Q4, a lot of other dropshippers are selling your products, and all of a sudden there's no stock. You're scaling, you're 1,000 orders behind, and you can't fulfill them. And it's 2 weeks before you get stock. And then you see the chargebacks coming through, your Facebook score starts to drop, you're afraid to scale. And that's when a lot of customers actually come to our company. We only hear from customers, from new customers, when they've gone through either a huge quality problem or when they start to scale and their current agent can't keep up with fulfillment.
Got it. And a question that's piggybacking off that: how do you know if the agent is drop shipping? We just got that question down below. Is there an indicator, something that you can use to tell?
Yeah. So back in the day when I was starting out, we wouldn't drop ship, but we asked them like how many units do they have in stock. Just get your agent to take a picture with today's date on a piece of paper or a live video and send it to you on WeChat or Skype, however you talk to these guys, like showing you the quantity in stock, saying, yes, it's today's date. This is what's in stock. Get them to do that every 2 days. If they don't do that, or it takes them 2 days to get back to you, or even 24 hours, that means they've asked their supplier to go into the back of the warehouse and take a picture of the piece of paper with today's date. If they say they're a supplier in a factory, they should be in the factory, right? So they just need to walk downstairs, take a quick picture. Should take them 30 minutes. Any longer than that, they are drop shipping from somewhere else.
Yeah,
and you
just call them out.
Yeah. Now it can work. You know, I know people who did really well and using an agent, and they don't want to change, and they know that their agent gets the products from all over the place. But I believe that's then a relationship. You know, they built a relationship. They understand what's going on. But unfortunately, Justin, you and me know most of these agents lie. They just want to take your money. They charge you in advance. Like we charge our customers after the fact. So if we fuck up, and excuse my French, we don't get paid. So we fulfill all our products. So we can't lie to our customers. So if you can build that relationship with your agent that, hey, I want credit terms. So if you're going to ship my products, I need to see tracking numbers update, and I'll pay you when they start updating. Then that will build a completely different relationship with your agent.
No, for sure. I mean, these are such valuable pieces of gold. Thank you as well, Alan, for bringing this incredible value to everyone here. And if you're just hopping on, guys, as well, Alan Coughlan, founder of Landstill Global, does $40 million plus a year, absolute don in the logistics game. And he's sharing some real heat with us right now, guys, as well. And we have a few more questions here that I want to go through, because every question I throw at Alan, he gives us a massive value bomb, which is amazing. And what we're going to do as well now, guys, we're giving away one BSF hoodie. Drop hashtag BSF below. Spam it as many times as you guys possibly can. Okay, one person will be winning a BSF hoodie. Okay, well, actually, we'll give out 3. Screw it. So do hashtag BSF below as many times as you guys possibly can. Let's get the chat lively and active, and we'll go ahead and get back to the stream. So as we go through, hashtag BSF below and get your chances to win a BSF hoodie before the stream ends. Okay. Now, so Alan, what is one thing that you believe really differentiates a good supplier from a phenomenal supplier? Is there one thing that they do, one specific change or adjustment or leverage that they'll give you? What is one good thing that could really separate a great supplier, from just an average good one?
I think it's credit terms. Credit terms. I'd love to know how many of your guys, Justin, here on this chat, get credit terms with their supplier, because that, you guys need daily cash, right, to start paying your ads and all that kind of stuff. You need cash in order to scale, which means the factory will benefit if you scale. So if you can create credit terms with your supplier, I think that's when you have found a decent agent or factory, because they're willing to take a risk on you, right? So they might even be shipping your goods out. They might charge you once every 2 weeks and do an invoice. If you can get that to that level, then they're kind of in with you on it. Because if you have a PayPal block or some issues, you won't be able to pay them in time. They know they're taking a risk, but you're also, you advertisers are taking a risk every day, because you're putting ads out there hoping that it's going to come back and turn into orders, right? And if it does, the factory benefits. So I believe having that kind of double-headed risk there with you and your supplier, I think then it's almost like they're part of your team, right? Part of your family. So that's one. Another thing is just communication. I'm so big on communication. If you're waiting for stock 10 days, and even if you're behind on orders and your stock arrives and your agent calls you up and says, hey, Justin, your 1,000 units arrived, but we've noticed they're all the wrong color, or there's a quality issue on them. We need another 10 days in order to fix this problem. You will be so happy with them rather than that they just ship out all the bad qualities and then it comes back and ruins your business. So it's like just a complete, like there's an open trust here that if the product comes, it's okay. Let us know, fix the problem. We'll keep our customers under control, fix the problem. Let's get it done. Let's get the fresh stock back in as fast as possible, and let's scale. Let's continue. Let's forget about it. So that's it. Like credit terms and like real honest communication.
That's amazing. I mean, right off the bat, the communication for me is huge, right? Because I remember back early, 2015, 2016, drop shipping with these agents that are AliExpress suppliers at the time. It was a joke, right? There was zero communication. And that's where a lot of people kind of got their first kind of, I would say, scope on what they're really about, right? A lot of these suppliers out there. Now, you guys having that incredible communication line, that's game changing. So that's huge. Like that alone is one of the biggest differences from many, many suppliers that I've worked with, right? It's just communication, right? And that's totally different with you guys. And how do you manage that? Like, how do you have so much better communication than everyone else out there especially because I've seen it as well. You guys are just more available, right? And there's more actual resources and people that outreach to you. Like, how do you guys run that in the back end to kind of, really just be better than what else is out there?
Yeah, when we bring on a new customer, we put about 5 or 6 of our agents into one group, right? So when they make a purchase order, we'll fill their group with our staff. That means our staff can take a break, or if they call in sick, they're not under so much pressure. So it's great for your staff that it's not all on their back, right? We have multiple brains in there. So there's some people that are good at stock control. So we'll have a stock controller in there that helps you forecast. We'll have a purchase manager. And then just multiple people, so we're online all the time. So if I find out that some of my staff haven't replied a message in a few hours, like I get really pissed off over that, because I have been a customer before when I first started ordering from factories in China, and it would really annoy me when they'd go silent for like 24 hours. And I'm like, guys, I paid you. I'm being nice to you guys, and you just went silent for 24 hours, and they give you every excuse on the book.
Yeah.
So that really annoyed me. So I built my company on, we have to service the customer. That, like, we are second to none, in my opinion, on service. And some guys come to us and they're like, oh, we're happy with this factory, we don't want to change. I'm all for that too. If you've worked with a supplier for a long time and you built that relationship, I wouldn't change the supplier. But on service, when stuff goes wrong, we don't shy away from it. If there's a mistake and my team and myself, we messed up, you get covered. If the factory messed up, you get covered. Make sure the factory pays. If it's the freight or the 4PX or the air freight companies, if they're liable, they're going to get paid. So we offer almost 100% trust, 100% guarantee that if something goes wrong, we'll cover it. So it's almost like a trust, like a risk-free service to our customers.
No, for sure.
So that's what I built it on, Justin. It's like I went through it, and then was like there was a few pitfalls. Quality control was a pitfall, and reply time.
No, for sure. It feels like, your entire operation is built off of integrity, right? Which is huge, right? That's and just, from what you're saying, like, this is what you want the guy that's dealing with all of your orders to be saying, right? This is what it should be, right? But in most cases, it's not. But, that's why we bring you on here to kind of share the gospel of how it should be done.
Yeah, and like we grew through word of mouth, Justin. I've never spent a penny on advertising. Right now we're doing like some Instagram posts every now and then. So I have a good guy who's like, doing our graphics and putting stuff up, but it's all word of mouth. And I believe from when I met you a few years back, Justin, and now, if you go on these Facebook groups, there is like thousands of agents. New companies popped up, and we're the best supplier. And they're good to a certain scale, but once you pass that scale and you want to turn your business into a real business, best of luck.
No, for sure. And I think all of that experience that you have in the back end is what kind of leads to this service just to be so incredible. Now, as we move forward in Q4, what are some predictions you have? Do you see some great movements? What's your word to the people on this Q4 season in general?
Like how should they go about it?
Yeah, how should they go about it? Do you see it, being a great, Q4 ahead? Any thoughts or ideologies you have on Q4? I'm sure the people love to hear your thought process on Q4.
So if you remember last year, this time, all the ports in LA were congested like crazy, right? We foresaw that, so our customers were cool, and we got our stock into their local suppliers and kept our stock in China for the guys who ship globally from China. Now you don't see much on congestion in the ports. That again goes back to my point earlier where I said manufacturing in China as a whole is down about 20 or 30% from last year. This is just through the threat of recession that everybody's talking about. People aren't spending as much. Probably worried about, are they going to have a job in a few years' time? The people that buy that sweet point of $24.99, they're not spending as much online anymore. So yeah, that's a good thing that we don't have that congestion anymore. So shipping averages should be better this year. One thing, I see this year happening is the cost of shipping has gone crazy high from China.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of inquiries now that, yes, we'll hold a certain percentage of our stock in China to ship globally. So like you don't want to have a warehouse in Australia holding stock and a warehouse in the UK and a warehouse in mainland Europe to fulfill, 5 orders a day, because you'd have to stock those warehouses, which takes capital from your business, right? So a lot of our big players now, they hold, let's say 10, 15% of their stock in China, and they put the rest in local warehouses in their main market, whether that will be Australia or Canada. For our business, USA is, 75, 80% of our daily sales. So our Nevada warehouse here is absolutely packed to the roof right now because all our customers are pre-stocked. We're good to go. We'll probably start receiving our last Q4 containers around mid-October. Everybody fully stocked, and we knuckle down and get the orders out. So that's the biggest change I've seen over the last while, is because it's cheaper. When we started off all this stuff, Justin, way back, it was cheaper to fulfill products from China. You were making more money. Yeah, the lead time was, the delivery time was a bit longer, but you're making more money. You're more profitable at the end of the day. Now you ship from China, you're losing money. If you can afford to bulk up and buy stock and put it in a local warehouse, or if you're a lower seller, put it in your garage and fulfill it yourself, you're going to make bank this Q4.
Right. And I think that's great feedback, because the new common trend is the journey of the consumer. The consumer experience is the most important part, right? Back 2015, 16, 17, 18, even 19, I feel like people weren't even giving it the importance that it needed. Now it's all about that, right? Keeping them happy, keeping them proper, and getting the items there on time, to say the least, right? And
exactly.
quick.
Yeah. And Justin, yourself and myself, if I was to buy a product for $30, let's say, and it arrived 14 days later in an unbranded package, I will never buy from that store again. And I think people have, like, COVID has changed the spending power there, because before people were okay with 12 days delivery time, 10 days. Now people want 2-day, 3-day. They want to see the tracking numbers. I believe even on Facebook you got to put down how long your delivery time is, or you get bad points or whatever. So yeah, that's a massive thing. I think in order now to get repeat customers, I believe at some point when you can afford it and when you trust yourself, you should buy stock and keep it in a local warehouse.
For sure. And one thing that's huge also, on top of actually treating this business like a real business, because that's what it is keeping consistency moving forward, right? Not scaling too fast, okay, but still keeping a linear growth pattern, but being predictable, right? Going slowly but surely and growing, and not trying to go ahead and triple the budget overnight and screw out your optimization, have your Facebook page feedback score down. You run into a huge load of problems when you just try to scale prematurely. Even if you're able to, oftentimes it's not the best thing to do at that current time. There are things that need to be done, right? You have to tell your supplier, you have to go through and make sure all of your previous consumers are filling out their Facebook page feedback score nicely and properly, right? And making sure these people are happy to give you a great review, because your lifeline these days, right, is on that Facebook page feedback score, right? And so it's all revolving around the consumers being happy and giving you a great review and actually enjoying the process of shopping with your company. So things like packaging, custom packaging, quick processing times come so much more of an importance in today's market than it would have years ago, right? And that's good for the overall market sentiment as well, and people actually doing legit, proper business, right? Now, as someone moves forward, right, and starts to gain more and more consistency, right? What would you say is that point when you should just buy stock? Is there a certain point that you believe, Alan, that these people should be buying stock at that current time, or is there more of a volume per day, kind of essence that determines that factor in your mind?
Sure. I think when you figure out that this is my business and I am going to put everything into it, right? So you've gone through the dropshipping method, you're branding your stuff, or you're ready to brand it, and you're like, okay, these are my SKUs. Like I've identified a niche, I'm improving it, whatever it may be. And my customers love my customer support, even if we're dropshipping from China, they're cool, and I'm getting repeat orders. This is the time that I would buy stock. So you're you're ready to invest more your profits. You're not taking them out and renting crazy cars or anything. You're actually investing back into your business. The only way to do that at the start is put all your money back into stock, smartly, forecast it. Don't go crazy and all at once. Do a test run to see how it feels out. Find a local warehouse, wherever your market is, get in touch with them, see what the costs are, run a little forecasting model, see how profitable you would be if you do buy stock. But on the flip side, if you buy too much stock, Justin, and you don't have money for ads, you're kind of screwed, right? You're stuck with a load of stock and you can't sell it. So it's if it was me, I don't have any brands, but if it was me, I would do it when I trust myself that I'll buy this stock. I'll either sell it in 1 month or I'll sell it in 4 months, but it's getting sold either way.
Or else you're going door to door at that point, right?
Exactly. Then you're going door to door, or you're calling, crying to your factory, being like, please take it back. But, I think it's about trusting yourself, trusting your methods, and you guys talk a lot about your methods and your systems, Justin. I think if you have all that lined up, then you're kind of safe. So I would start small.
Right. And that's exactly the case. And I appreciate that feedback there. Right. Really, a lot of it is kind of seeing where you're genuinely at yourself personally, and also where you're at, in your own trust for yourself. If you you'll be able to sell these things, if you're actually getting true consistency or not. And also, guys, one thing that's important here that Alan brought up as well is following the systems, right? As we move forward, the reason that we have the most consistent results out of any other e-commerce program in the industry, hands down, is because we legitimately have systems for every single portioning of e-commerce, right? So why have a half-assed solution for logistics when you have a cream of the crop, world-class setup on the front end? You should be having a world-class setup on the back end as well, and work with gentlemen like Alan and Lansdale Global, so you can actually allow your guys' self to have a peaceful sleep at night, not be worrying about what they're doing with their stock and units, if they're being sent out or not. Because I remember back when I worked with people that I didn't have much experience with, I would be literally up until 4 or 5 in the morning, like bugging out, waiting for them to respond to me, because that's when they would answer. So I would like be bloodshot eyed and be waiting there, staring at the chat log. Please answer me. I just sent you 50 grand. Please. I would say, and it's ridiculous because at the time, so when I was younger, I would be sending them the money in bulk. Like they would send me a link. I would pay it with the credit card and just pay it right there. Like I didn't even know the guy. And thankfully I didn't have any nightmare stories myself, but I definitely sent some big amounts overseas to random AliExpress suppliers without really knowing anything about them. And now looking back, that was very risky of me.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. You're so right.
And I think all of these points are just so key to everything going into Q4. And I appreciate you so much, Alan, hopping on here today, guys. Okay. And before we actually round off, guys, one last call for the BSF hoodies down below. Hashtag BSF down below, guys. We're giving out 3 hoodies today. Put hashtag BSF down below in the comments. The most comments will receive the hoodie. I'll be announcing it in about 2-3 minutes. And again, Alan, thank you so much for hopping on with us today, man. We're here for about 40 minutes straight, which is amazing. Anything that you want to tell the people about Lansdale Global, about the season ahead, anything at all, your final kind of remarks as we, conclude here of this incredible live stream. Again, we thank you so much for hopping on. You do 40 million a year. Your company is amazing. You have an incredible service. And, anyone listening right now, I highly encourage you to hit up Alan, see what they got going on, get in contact with his team, and just see if they're the right team for you guys. And, I think I have a feeling it might be.
Yeah, that's it. Like if you're not at that level yet, reach out. Somebody will jump on a call and give you some advice. If you are at that level, let's get in touch. Anybody who signs up to my company, I get on a one-on-one call with them, and we'll see if we are the right fit for each other, or I'll put you in the right way. One last thing to do, Justin, is Amazon. Amazon is a beast. What I'm noticing these days is a lot of people will see the ads online, and they'll go directly to Amazon and look at the similar product and buy it. So you're losing a lot of flow over sales there. So sure. Once you get to a certain level and you're branded, of course, you're fully branded, you're knuckled down, send a few units into Amazon and you'll clean up on the overflow there of sales. It goes back to my point on people only want 2 to 5 day shipping. So if they see a cool ad, like for, let's say, stress relief, something, they'll jump on Amazon, type in your brand name or the ad name, and if they don't see your logo, your brand, they're buying a competitor, and you've basically just given that competitor a free sale. So that's a massive thing.
That's amazing advice. And we just did that with one of our tactical brands. We did it on Amazon and eBay as well, which is really cool. And that's huge point there as well. And honestly, guys, anyone who has consistency at all just with Facebook ads, add Google ads, okay, and get on Amazon as well as eBay as well. That's an amazing, amazing point to increase your sales channels as well. So thank you, Alan, for actually bringing that up. And we could talk about that even more in depth at a later point, which would be, probably another topic for another day. But we have a lot of engagement down here. We're giving out these 3 hoodies now. Hoodie number 1 is going to Rika. Congratulations. You won yourself a BSF hoodie, which is incredible. My man, Ikwan, you won yourself a BSF hoodie as well, which is absolutely incredible. And we got my man, Finley Cadet. You won yourself a BSF hoodie as well, my friend. Okay, put the names up here on the stream. We are live across like 9 different groups right now, whether you're watching from the Justin Wall page, Shopify Dropshipping, Dropify, Ecom Empires, Dropshipping for Beginners, BSF, or YouTube. You're watching from somewhere. We appreciate y'all. And hopefully you guys got some insane value from this session today. As you guys can see, Alan is literally filled with golden value. Anything he says, you just got to write down, right? So get into that habit. We're going to be having him here a lot more as well. And guys, give it up for Alan down below. Absolute stud of a businessman. And again, thank you so much, Alan, for actually hopping on today, guys. Definitely say thanks down below. We want to see Alan come back here to give us some more incredible value. And any final remarks that you got, my friend, would love to hear them, and then we could kind of cap up.
No, just thank you, Justin. Just you guys are doing fantastic stuff out there. I see your comments, I see your reviews, I see the content you're putting out. You're fully involved with your team and your members. Just love it. Like, let's just continue to do this. If ever you want me to jump on again, coming into Q1, that's a whole Chinese New Year is a great call to have, because that's a stock issue in itself. Factories close down for a month and you can't stop your business for a month. So I think that's a great topic that we could maybe look at in the future.
Done deal. We'll have a session going over Chinese New Year. That'll be phenomenal. What do you think, guys? Should we make that happen? Let us know down below. Chinese New Year with Alan. Let us know. And also, Alan, how can we get in touch with you?
Just reach out. We have you can fill out the contact form on our webpage. Justin, if you have any guys that are in contact with you, just shoot them my way on Facebook, and I'll jump on a call with them within 24 hours, see if we're the right fit, and take it from there. Scale time. Cool.
Keep it simple and get it done. I like it. And Alan, I'm wishing you a massively successful Q4 ahead, my friend. I'm sure you don't even need any massive success wishes, because you're going to freaking crush it. But, I'm definitely wishing you do absolutely phenomenal. Best of luck. Keep me updated. If you need us for anything, we'll always be here. We're always just a text away, my friend.
Great. Thank you so much, Justin. Thanks for having me. See you guys.
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, Alan. Enjoy, guys, as well. And guys, listen, this was absolutely insane today. Hopefully you guys literally enjoyed that. That was awesome. If you're just hopping on late, watch the whole thing over again. Okay. And guys, I love y'all. Thanks for hopping on, guys. The amazing feedback down here is amazing. Okay. So literally watch the replay again. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good rest of your Monday. I love y'all. And if you're looking to get inside BSF before Q4 starts, guys, I highly recommend you do. Okay. At this point, we're pretty much closed. You go to justinwall.com/platinum. Okay. And you go ahead and apply there, and we'll reach back out to you. And with that being said, guys, we love y'all. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy. And we will see you guys soon.